Ambassador, a couple of weeks ago, Poland has taken over the presidency of the Council of the European Union. What are the priorities of your country in the upcoming 6 months?
First of all, thank you for having me in the program and for coming and visiting the embassy. Yes, Poland has taken over the presidency of the EU Council. The program you are asking about is a 50-page long document, and it is made available for the general public. So for those viewers who are interested in the details, I recommend reading the program. It is available at poland25.eu. For now, I would like to draw your attention to two things. First are the geopolitical circumstances in which Poland has taken over the presidency. Europe is confronted with the consequences of the barbaric aggression of Russia on Ukraine. That's the main factor. We are facing the need to strengthen our defense and security. Europeans are facing a number of different challenges like the climate crisis or the economy problems. We are also affected by the consequences of the migration waves. All this means that there are a number of challenges that lie ahead of us, and in these circumstances, Poland decided that security of Europe and the European people is number one issue of our presidency. And so, but we understand this security very widely, and that's why we describe it in the program in terms of 7 dimensions. First of all is the external and internal security. That is the need to increase European defense capabilities, and it being complemented with the NATO efforts, increase military spending, and our defense industry as well. The third would be the resistance to foreign misinformation and interference. The European Union and its member states must strengthen the resilience of our democracy to resist all forms of radicalization. The security of business comes next, that is economy. It is, in our view, necessary to deepen single market and the ability to cross-border activity, especially in services sector. Then energy is another dimension of security, and in our view, we will promote actions aimed at fully withdrawal from imports of Russian energy sources and undertake steps to try and reduce the prices of energy in Europe. Agriculture is the next one, and last but not least comes the health security, both extremely important for ordinary people in Europe. So with these 7 dimensions of security, we defined our priorities for the upcoming 6 months.
How much effort is the Polish presidency going to put on the enlargement, I would say, a very pressing issue for North Macedonia, enlargement specifically in this region of the Western Balkans?
Absolutely, we will. I have noticed while preparing myself to come to Skopje and already while being in Skopje, that a number of media reports suggested that Poland dropped Western Balkans from the priorities of our presidency. This is not true. That was mentioned a number of times by high representatives of our government. Last December, Prime Minister Tusk, while paying a visit to Serbia, declared at the press conference that EU enlargement will be the center of our attention during the Polish presidency. We will urge the new High Representative, Ms. Kaja Kallas, to organize a EU Western Balkans Foreign Ministers meeting during our presidency to maintain interest in cooperation with the region, to assess the progress in the enlargement process, and to advance, for example, Serbia-Kosovo normalization. We are supporting Western Balkan countries through a number of other activities and projects, like the twinning projects. One of them will be opened here in Skopje next week, and it is run by Polish experts on transportation issues through the annual Enlargement Academy that is attended by representatives of all countries from the region. We also offer bilateral transfer of knowledge concerning the EU enlargement process. So if only North Macedonia puts forward a need for such consultations, our experts will be ready to share that knowledge. It's probably worth noticing that as we speak, your Minister for European Integration, Mr. Murtazani, is on the way to Warsaw, where he will be meeting our ministers for EU, Mr. Schwabka, this Friday. He will have a number of meetings with Polish representatives of our authorities, including parliamentarians who are members of the Polish-Balkanian Friendship Group. Yesterday, I received another invitation from Mr. Murtazani to attend the council meeting in Warsaw towards the end of February. We are also working on the visit of foreign minister to Warsaw, and for summer we are planning to organize a visit of the Speaker of the Sobranie in Poland, together with some members of the Macedonian Parliament. So
yes.
The subjects of all these meetings, the main subjects of all these meetings, will be the EU enlargement process. That means that Warsaw is not passive.
In the program priorities, it is said, I'm quoting, we need to consolidate reforms in the candidate countries, preserve the credibility of the European Union. Does this sentence also refer to the case of North Macedonia and its deadlock in the EU integration process that we are currently in?
The deadlock you are referring to is a 100% bilateral issue, and as such it should be solved by the countries involved. What we can do, I mean the other European countries, we can support any solution that is going towards achieving a compromise on any kind of international fora or any kind of EU bodies, and we will definitely support such a solution. But it is up to you to start talking and work out a compromise. Additionally, for me, and I'm talking that on the basis of our Polish experiences, there's one more factor which is extremely important. That is the reconciliation process. I personally think that you should start working on a reconciliation process with the Bulgarian people, because as far as I know, this issue that is now blocking the progress in the EU enlargement is part of a much wider, much longer historical dispute. Poles know it very well from our experience with the Polish-German reconciliation progress, and we are ready to share our experience. Just to prove it, I may say that last month, in December, there was a 4th edition of a special seminar organized in Poland by our ministry with a partnership with Germany and the Krzyżowa Foundation for young leaders, for people from young generation of your region to share Polish experience with reconciliation process. The feedback we get from these young leaders is very good, and that is what is also promising is that we are already here, that there is a plan to invite next year, for the next edition, also representatives of Bulgarian young generation. So reconciliation process, of course, is a long-term activity. It takes time. For now, it is the main task of your government to start talking and get to some kind of a conclusion acceptable for both countries as soon as possible. And again, it does not mean that we will not help. As far as I know, our deputy foreign minister responsible for the European policy is planning a visit to Sofia next month. And I'm sure he will take the occasion to talk and encourage Bulgarian partners to also think about bilateral talks to achieve the compromise that we need.
So you're planning to talk as a presidency of the Council of the European Union with Sofia?
Yeah, the deputy minister will go to Sofia.
When you are talking about the compromise, the current government here in Skopje is pushing an initiative, an idea. It's, I would call it, constitutional changes with delayed action. Is this a viable, possible solution for the deadlock from the perspective of the Polish presidency?
I know that Prime Minister Mickoski and his government hope that Bulgaria will agree to this delayed implementation, which I understand in practice would mean that you will make the amendment to the Macedonian constitution later when you become a member country, or at least when you open the last chapter of your negotiations. I can see some government allies who insist it is possible. On the other hand, however, there is no hint that Brussels or Bulgaria will change the opposition, that they are willing to change the opposition. So I'm not sure if this proposition can be effective, simply. The new commissioner of the EU, Marta Kos, as you may have heard, declared that she would expect North Macedonia to accept and introduce the changes to the constitution. Yes, so it is all connected with the old Latin principle of international law that we must remember, which reads pacta sunt servanda, and means agreements must be kept. I remember a good friend of mine, one of the most outstanding Polish Americans, General Ed Rowney, who was the security advisor to 5 American presidents. And when he retired, he wrote a book about American disarmament negotiations with the Soviet Union. The book was called It Takes Two to Tango. I somehow believe that it is very true about your situation at the moment. You simply, there is a very good momentum for you to advance your process. We know that this year marks the 20th anniversary since North Macedonia became a candidate country, and it still remains a candidate country. And we know now that there is this pretty unique constellation at the moment of willingness to enlarge the European Union with the Balkan countries, with our presidency, with the new authorities of the European Union. The trouble is to use the momentum before it is gone. I'm simply afraid that we started this conversation with talking about certain challenges that lie ahead of Europe today, starting from the war that is at our border and through all different crises that we have to face. And that may result in the question of EU accession by your country being put to the margin. And if you add to this certain unpredictability of the upcoming new American administration, which may turn the focus of the European Union to other issues like the Panama Canal control or the unsatisfactory Ukrainian peace project, then it may turn out that the priorities of the European Union will change and the momentum may be gone. So if I were your advisor, which I am not, and it's just my personal opinion, I would like your government to weigh all the cons and pros and see what they should do to make sure that they will get most profit for the people of North Macedonia.
Now back on the domestic sphere here in the country, how do you see the ongoing process of reforms in North Macedonia? Do you see, and what are the shortcomings, and what should the government focus on in the near future?
I attended a meeting with your foreign minister this morning. It was a meeting for the EU ambassadors and was a free exchange of opinions, but the minister had made a little address, and it was again agreed that there are certain challenges and shortcomings in the reform process that Macedonia is going through as a country. Issues persist regarding independence and efficiency of the judiciary. International reports highlight undue influence of politics on the judiciary. Systemic corruption remains a big problem. You still face deeply rooted economic problems, which are the result of negative systems that ruled the economy of the country for years and years. So while we know that there have been a number of improvements, there is still a need to introduce more reforms, and probably one of the shortcomings that we are talking about was so far was the tempo of introducing these reforms. It seems like this process needs to be sped up to meet the agenda on the way to the European integration.
Ambassador, thank you much for this opportunity to talk to you.
Pleasure.